Hey guys, what's going on? It's Richie Rich back yet again. This time I'm going to be doing a vid talking about one thing that's been with me for a while, depression. Be sure to check this out. Rich Fanatics, man, this is gonna be my vid on dealing with depression. Which I'm pretty sure everyone has dealt with depression in some sort of form stage in their life. So this is just my experience. How I dealt with it. Was able to overcome it, and I'm just offering any tips like as low and as rock bottom you can get to that point. There really is light on the other side. So it's just the whole thing of just conquering like the demon and the enemy, just staying positive, and obviously go for the gold and don't go for the gold digger. Yeah, man, I've dealt with depression for like long stages of like my early teens going into like early adulthood to even I'd say just like a year before this present day, you know what I mean? And it just ranged from just a lot of different things, like for me, I think depression first hit me when I was definitely going through school, not so much like elementary slash primary school. It was definitely going through like secondary school, high school, just the amount of BS I had to take, from like just a lot of people who I even have seen today ain't doing SHIT, just wanted to, show that they were better than you because they were in certain cliques and certain groups in the school life, which I'm pretty sure, a lot of people have dealt with, like I'm a big fan, even to this day, I'm a big fan of like Dragon Ball Z, big fan of like Batman comics. I ain't ashamed to say I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? Which I don't think that's any problem with being. Liking video games, going comic books, having comic books, going to Hyper Japan anytime you're free and that. But I don't think there's any problem with that. But because like you know doing that, I mean, like when I was in school, it's like I was basically like, if anyone's watched Family Matters, like Steve Urkel, I was like exactly like that. The only thing I didn't have the glasses or the suspenders. I was like that guy, that just that skinny black kid, who only his weapon was his mouth to talk and that. So I remember just being in school, just wondering like, man, what are the days that I'm not gonna get insulted, dissed, cussed, beaten up. It wasn't even just the students; it was the teachers as well. It was just like it was like everybody hates Chris. If you take the Chris out and just put Rich, it was that. Every day just dealing with it in school. You know what I mean? And it's like how depression like really comes and starts up. It's just like a constant build up of every day. You're here somewhere and you're just unhappy and you're powerless to do anything because at that time, obviously, I have strict like African upbringing. You can't just quit school. They'll be like, "Hey, you didn't quit school? What are you going to do?" That's a bad African accent. Don't ever do that. But like, it's like you can't really quit. You just have to like, go through this like landmine field and like survive. So it was just so manic. I remember when I was going through like high school, it was literally like the later years, just before I was about to go towards college. Just like this whole stigma of like having to force yourself to be with certain friends because they were quote unquote popular. And it was weird what popular was like, losing the virginity to ugly girls, putting chewing gum under the desk, say they went to Butlins or Alton Towers, whatever wacky stuff like that. That was considered popular. Like what was hip, that's what you needed to be, or you would consider the dork, a nerd. Like oh, who is that guy? You know what I mean? And it affects like obviously you trying to get girls and chicks, so it is very, very difficult. Like the old school time, man. Like I've never been to prison, but I could imagine, like, what it is, that isolated environment after being in school, for like those X amount of years. So like, I remember like I remember just dealing with depression for almost a decade, man. Until like I finally, like once I got to like that university stage and I was able to just leave, and I swore to myself, I said, look, man, when I leave this uni, the only way to have freedom and the only way to do what I want is I have to get this paper, dog. Somehow, some way, I gotta become a rich man. Because I was just tired of listening to people who are not contributing nothing to this world, and they're telling you what's cool and hip. And these are the same ones who are like, want to work like a 9 to 5 job forever, and then they're gonna have regrets saying they couldn't do anything and that. I was sick and tired of listening to that. So I swore myself, like when I got out of uni, I'm gonna go get this money, man. Whatever, to quote Malcolm X, man, by any means necessary. And I remember them early days, and that's when, like I said, because the depression was really when I was in school, and then when I actually finished uni, then I went into that work environment. That's when it really, really, because I remember the first 5 years, it was really this kind of scary, tense thing of like not knowing when money was gonna come in. And you're just doing job after job, hot job, job after job. This place didn't pay you, I went over there. They didn't pay me on north, I went south. Anyway I was doing just to get this paper, man. And it was really dark because while I was doing it, it's like it was never a steady path. It was just, I would work in these different places, and it was really cool. I mean, the best thing about doing is like different jobs and that, because I was a waiter, I was a bartender, I was a bouncer, I was a shoe salesman, I was a door-to-door salesman. I modeled sometimes. You know, there's even some I can't even like bring up to my, like remember right now. But some of them are probably lost in time. But yeah, man, I was doing anything just to make the money, and I remember the depression really hit because I'm like a calm dude. Once I got my money, I just go back home and chill on my PlayStation. What I mean. I just love doing that. And it really annoyed me when I had to like go out of my way to go to these places to work, and I was just trying to go there to collect the money. I mean, to even tie onto this, like even earlier this year, I had like the most whack ass job. It wasn't even the job that was the problem. It was the staff and the people. It's not even the main stuff. It was just a few, you know, who wants to be a millionaire idiots who were in that place, who basically saw me as like trying to affect their kind of territory. You know what I mean? Because they were all friends there, and I came in saying like, look, I'm here just to, collect the A, and I'm being out here. I'm gonna get this dough and bounce, which I didn't think there was a problem with that. You know what I mean? So it was just, which I'm gonna touch on later, but my whole thing was like, and this really the right like I said, this really talks onto like people obviously like color and that from what I've understood, especially because I'm probably now I've probably been working for almost 12 over a decade now. You know what I mean? So I know the kind of like how can I say equal opportunities and like discrimination that happens in the work environment. I've had places in the highest places interviewed me, and I've had places in the lowest interviewed, and I've seen the way different people get treated. Obviously, when you're seen as like a second class citizen and people who were born here. So it's that whole thing like you have to be on point all the time, what I mean? And it was very difficult, like doing, like, I would always do one job, then go to another job, then go to another job, do my extra, like, hustle on the side, what I mean? So I remember doing this all the time, and like you'd come back home, no one's there to kind of support you in that, and you just got to keep going on, that would always slowly, obviously build my depression, because I'd be like, man, how long is it going to take to get rich? You know what I mean? I just literally just, what I mean? I'm not trying to sell out, to get this money. It's just that I know if I have this paper, I can do things that these other people can't dream about. But some of these people have this money, and it's literally just to buy like a yacht, get like get car after car. I ain't about that, man. I'm about like investing in something. So like it was. I've had to dealing with like that whole like struggle of like, doing, working for like a decade. And even that, because I'm a fitness guy, I was building up my physique and obviously training in some of the most painful workouts, man. From weight training to wrestling to Brazilian martial arts, doing just everything just to feel, because even when you train, you train your mind as well. So I was doing that plus doing work. So it's like I never had a break, what I mean, for almost like 10 years straight. I was just going hard, 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 because I knew like if I stopped, you know, all I could do was just blame myself. If I never ever got what I believed I could get, it's like you only get what you put into it. So it's like there was times where I just wanted to be, plenty times where I just had that. No, Prophet, man, I can't wake up today, man. Honestly, I can't wake up 5 o'clock in the morning to go open up this gym, which is like an hour 30 minutes away. But I had to do it, because if no one pushed me to do it, that was my money for the day. So it was very sad, but to be honest, whilst doing it, it's like you kind of get that system registered, like today, like, no, 5 o'clock I gotta wake up to do this, what I mean? So it's a very like, how can I say, whilst doing it, it's like you just become more independent, just more like determined, after going through this like blazing fire in the woods, you want to get to the other side, what I mean? So like with that, like, so like dealing with depression in school, it wasn't even in just school, even my neighbors, even when I was growing young, they were DICKSs, what I mean? Dealing with like, racism, in the 90s, young black kid, growing up, having to deal with that. And, for them, it's like if you explain that to like a person who's not black, they'll be like, oh, there's no racism. What are you talking about? Racism, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? But they've never seen it firsthand. You know what I mean? And like the negative impact that can happen to you. It kind of confuses you, and sometimes you can get lost. Like, oh, why am I here just because of the color of my skin? Just completely BS. And it's like I think like films like this really are educating people today. Like it's cool to look like this. You understand? So that in mind, so like with like the growing up like early in the 90s, school, the work environment, trying to, being forced to like be with women. Even another thing, and this is what definitely led to my own depression, like in like definitely the African community, I don't know if it's the Caribbean community, you're very like forced to like find like a bride when you're like you get into that like university stage and that, because like they had how my family, and I'm pretty sure other families, they always look at other people like, oh, why is so and so married now, oh, look, she just has an engagement ring, where's your woman? So they would do that all the time, and it's like I never had time for that, because like when there was times to go wedding or christening or birthday, I was out there collecting that cash. So you never had time for that. So like I remember it just kept building up, building up, building up, like saying like, oh, you know, when you gonna have like a real, long term woman, what I mean? They wanna see it and that. You know what I mean? So it was just, I remember just I would hear that and I'd just be like, whatever, but I remember just keep forcing out. Like, I remember sometimes coming for 15-hour shifts and I get told, like, oh, why don't you have like a woman in that? Is there something wrong? Is there something you're not telling us? You know what I mean? But it's just a mad thing. But yeah, I mean, and this is where it ties on to what ultimately led on to like my biggest challenge. And like I said, I've had probably some of the most horrific injuries. I had my finger. When you talk about like how real cruel school was to me, someone broke my finger when I was about, I don't know, probably like 10 years old. Yeah, mixed race dude name thing. I'm still trying to find where you at, man. payback's a bit, yeah, but moving on. But like, yeah, I've broken my arm, I've had stitches, I nearly got robbed for my money, close contact, you end up punching me in the face. So like, I've had a lot of like mad, like, I wouldn't say like some have been life threatening, but I've had like some bad like episodes, you know what I mean? And it's like it always like it made me stronger, and I always was able to move. But the biggest challenge, the biggest mountain I had to ever climb was like, I think, yeah, basically this time last year I was in a stage I was meant to get like married. I was meant to get married, and like if you can see this shirt, like it was meant to be to. This is why I like the whole like things with the shirt, like no more village girls. Yeah, I was meant to get married to a salon TT who was a village girl. So like it was a really difficult thing because it's like I don't want to delve into it too much because it still brings like bad memories, but that whole jam was basically, you know, we were both like, madly in love with each other, but the main situation was like the woman, she didn't have any patience, and was really influenced by just getting money, which is really funny because I call myself the rich man. You know what I mean? Like, who you gonna get money from other than me? But not to entice my ego, but like it was this whole thing of like this kind of like fast thing, even that situation, like she was the one who said she wanted to marry me, you know what I mean? And I keep on saying it, when you're in those situations of like, young person and like, big chapters in your life, someone saying like, they're gonna marry you, I took that very seriously. I was like, okay, if I'm getting married, I'm with this someone, I'm gonna focus on someone, and it was just a really sour thing. Like, it was the first time I really got like mad heartbroken because, I found out that this village girl was messing about, and I was too stupid to see it because I was like blindly in love, you know what I mean? So that really sent me like in a real downward spiral, you know what I mean? Because I was saying before, like she was the one, you know what I mean? Like this is the one, like is gonna be, you know, mother of my children, family, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be with forever, you know what I mean? And it's the first time I really like, was like, damn, I was 100% wrong. And the whole situation with that is what really led to my biggest depression because I felt guilty. I kept blaming myself, like why she decided to leave me and go to some other dude. You know what I mean? Like, while I was with her, she was messing around like that. I just kept on like analyzing myself. I was like, what was it the way I look? Was it the way I talk? Am I too childish? Am I not mature enough? Baga. All these things I kept on just generating all that. While I was doing that, I kept on creating stress. You know what I mean? And stress is just when it constant build up. You'll see people when they're just like this all the time. It's stress, and I was always keeping like Tupac. You gotta keep your head up. My head was always down. I would speak to people, just be like that. You know what I mean? Because like I was just like, man, I love this woman, and she's the one who said she wanted to marry me. Then because like of all these things, she just said she just bounced, just like I just out of nowhere, you know, deleted me off like social media and that, and just said didn't want nothing to do with me. And I was like, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? I didn't even come to her in the first place, and it just really affected me. I remember just being, I'd wake up every morning. I used to like jump up out of it, like kip up, like the rock. Go down, have my Weetabix, have my cornflakes, and that. I used to be like, very joyous. And I remember just being times like I couldn't even get out of my bed. Sometimes I would just be like, I thought the whole world was crashing down. I just had like the motivation to even train, to even do YouTube videos. It was really sad because I remember I was getting like notifications on my YouTube channel saying like, man, someone loved this vid, someone loved this vid, and I couldn't grasp the energy to make any more good content, man, because I was just always thinking about the past, like I kept crying over spilled milk, when I should have just accepted that she was gone. She didn't call, she's not coming back. You know what I mean? So it really was a big, I'd say like this, this man, this BITCH, it took like a year of my life, man. And trust me, I plan to get that year back. Why do you think I'm calling this year the rich man? But, you know, I mean, it just really made me like, especially dealing with that situation, because it's like that was my rock bottom, like that whole year, man. Like, everything that could have gone wrong that year happened. All my plans, all my dreams, all my like, like things that I was gonna do, last year didn't come to fruition, because of that heartbroken situation. Because I took that everywhere, even when there was this thing, because a lot of people say, you know what, oh, that's no big deal, man, oh, you just find another girl. It's not as easy as to do that, you know what I mean? Because I've always said, if you're a person, I'm pretty sure like this is the same with like a Steve Jobs, a Gary V, a DJ Khaled. If you're putting your 100% effort into work, I'm talking about hustling. That if we're gonna say an entrepreneur, if you're that kind of person, I'll keep telling you, you ain't got time for this numbers game. PUSSY tastes the same. Pretty much. And I don't know. You know what I mean? It tastes the same whether it's here, Iran, Pakistan, Ceylon, Nigeria, uh, United Arab Emirates, Switzerland, you name it. It tastes the same. You know what I mean? Well, if you're gonna be with someone, that's always gonna be forever. You understand? So that whole like numbers game, that never interested me. I'd rather check the numbers in my pocket when I open my wallet. That's what I'm interested about. So like that was one of the things that really pissed me off. Like when I was meant to get married, and people around me were trying to tell me like, oh, you can just get another woman. It don't work like that. So yeah, man, I remember just dealing with that just for like, a whole year, and I just felt like, it really just fit because, like I said, I fell into this whole place of like, it's me, you know, that's why she left, and it was just like, as I started to go, because I'm telling you, I took L after L after L after L, it's like I fell in like a loser's pit. You know what I mean? And it's like at one point, I ain't gonna lie, it felt like I wasn't gonna get out of it. Yeah, it went that deep. You know what I mean? But it was just like as the time kept going, as coming to the end of 2017, it's like I started to just take like a look in the mirror. And it's like when I sat down and I started to analyze the situation from the top to bottom, I was like, wait a minute, hold the phone. I didn't do anything wrong, you know. I never, I never put my hands on this woman. I never cussed this woman out. She's the one who said she wanted to marry me, and then all of a sudden she just bounced. So I started to put, my Inspector Clouseau hat on and say, well, what the heck did I do wrong? You know what I mean? I was totally committed to that relationship. She wasn't. What the heck did I do? And it's like once I got a grip on myself, slapped myself and I said, Richard, stop being a bitch, man. I know for the first time you love someone more than you love money, but you gotta get out of that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, man, to quote my main man DJ Khaled, they want to kick you when you're down and they want to kick you when you're up. This was the same woman who basically split. Then after, once I was starting to get myself back together, she tried to call me to say, what one, hey, do you want to pick up where we left off? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I learned with her, there's good and evil in this world, and evil PUSSY does exist, and that was a clear indication of that. You know what I mean? And like once I learned from that situation, I learned that, man, baby, You only live once, man. Might as well live a rich one. Why should I have to waste my time with someone who just wants to bring negativity down my life? I'm about positive thinking. I ain't trying to hurt anybody. I'm just trying to get what I deserve. I'm the one putting the hours, putting in the sacrifice, putting in the devotion, the determination to get where I want to be. Someone who's not doing half of that wanted to try and affect me. So once I got into that situation, because I started to see others like that across the world, I said, no, no more. Forget it. Having to deal with that from school to high school to college to university and workplaces of fools who think they know how to live. They think they know what's the right way to live. A lot of them are BS, man, and you have to confront them. Tell them to their face, no, I don't like the way you're treating me. Get out of my face. Bye, Felicia. Yeah, like, man, just like getting out of that thing, I'll never forget. I'll always remember it. I remember it was Christmas last year. I remember I was just watching my 40-inch screen, and I was just like, I'm a strong believer, in payback. I'm a strong believer in what goes around comes around. Some people just want to be, let's just be real. Some people just want to be dicks just for no reason. Just want to affect, like, someone who's not doing, anything. What I mean? There's a lot of like haters around this world, and I think what is it? I'm a big Jericho-holic, big fan of Chris Jericho. I think he had a quote from Paul Stanley. It's like, people who tell you can't do something are the ones who can't do it and have already failed. You know what I mean? So it brings them delight telling you, like, you can't get 1 million subscribers in YouTube. You can't become like a bodybuilder. You can't become a successful entrepreneur. You can't go travel the world. You can't go, marry the girls of the dream, become a Formula One race driver, become an astronaut, become a surgeon. Those people are gonna say that are the ones who are just miserable, man. They just can't stand themselves, So they'll just take the line on telling people they can't do their stuff, And even this is even one situation. The girl I was meant to marry, I had an idea of us to, I wanted to just leave. I wanted us to have like our own house. I wanted to leave and move to the western side of the world. Guess what she told me? It cost a lot of money, which I know. But I was like, look, man, I know it's not gonna be easy, but if you're willing to hold my hand, we can do this together. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna do this. If I want to do it, nothing's stopping in my way. But she's always looking at that kind of like barriers. For some, is what I really witness in this world. After working in so many different jobs, and acquiring different attributes. Like I said, I'm a big like fan of like only the strong survive. Only the strong survive. It is ruthless out in this jungle, man. You know what I mean? And it's like you either sink or you swim. And I'm not even to put like a chip on my shoulder. I'm not as sure yet, but I've been swimming for years. Last year was like the biggest judgment test. Whatever. I don't know when you finally leave and you get judged by like more than that. That was my test last year, and somehow I was able to overcome that. So after dealing with, nearly like letting it nearly become game over, the Resident Evil screen, like when his kids game over, after nearly getting to that stage and getting a continue, and getting like another chance, it's like everything was bright, the future was orange. You know what I mean? And it's like, after just that like biggest defeat of like, nearly being with someone, which I'm so glad now, because if I was married to her, it would have been the mistake of a lifetime, you know what I mean? So, things do happen for a reason, so just going through that whole episode last year, it just made me stronger, just made me appreciate life way more, It's, It's like, bro, look, when you're gone, man. So, if I can speak to anybody outside, man, like I said, man, if you've got dreams, like for instance, I'm trying to travel the world next year, I want to get enlightened from these different places, I've wanted to see so many things when I was young, but no one would take me there. So I know I've got to do it myself. Rather than sitting around and blaming someone why they didn't take me, I'm going to go get this money and go do it myself. You know what I mean? I don't want to get to that age when I wish like, oh, if I was younger, I wish I had done that. You know what I mean? It's like you got to live for today. Stop getting in that mindset like someday this gonna happen. Oh, if I play the lotteries and this number's covered, you know what I mean? You got to focus for now. So that's one thing. I just learned from with that situation. I learned like, you know, not to let anyone blow smoke on my ass. You know what I mean? A lot of people just want to take advantage of you because you can. And they think because sometimes like they've seen the world more than you that they know better than you. No, I probably like I even told a certain someone, even though they were older than me, I walked more days on this earth than him. Trust, while he was goofing off with like the Spice Girls or something, I was out there getting this paper. You know what I mean? That's coming from the heart, straight up. So yeah, man, that's like yeah, just my like bit on like basically dealing like with thing. What ultimately came out of it is like like how I found myself. I just went back to things I love doing. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of like comedy. I've always, I may even try to review it someday. Excuse me, the Def Comedy Damn series. You know what I mean? I always watch it back to back. I always watch like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy. That was one things I used to watch like on Netflix. When I was in my bed, mobilized, paralyzed, and I couldn't even get out of my bed. It's like I would just watch, the comedy, and it would make me happy. You know what I mean? So that like comedy would actually get me out of my rut. I'd get back to playing like video games. Like playing like playing like my Resident Evil 4, one of my favorite games of all time. I'd play that. I'd play Dead Space. I'll start reading my comic books again. I'll start watching my favorite TV shows like Batman Anime Series, Dragon Ball Z, The Simpsons. I would just get back into these hobbies that made me fun because while I was with this woman and while I was getting married, I didn't do none of that. I was unhappy with while I was with her, but it's like I felt like I had to be with her because of what society was telling me at that time. And just coming out of that, it's like I feel so free. You know what I mean? Like I was so shackled. When I was with her. You know what I mean? That's why I put on my like thing, rich man find freedom. You know what I mean? Like the bottom line is, I know if I get this dough, man, not if, but when I get this dough, I know I got my freedom. I don't need to listen to no more idiots telling me what to do, man. Just because they couldn't do it, they want to see someone who's actually, not gonna, but like is willing to put everything, the kitchen sink, the Ferrari, everything to get that dough. They get jealous. They want to say you can't do it. F them. Erase that negativity out of your head, man. Because if you keep it, because it happened to me, I'm talking from experience. It happened to me when people were telling me, even when I started training, started building on, size. I had people like, oh, you never be a bodybuilder. Yeah, you're skinny. Where are you gonna eat? Are you gonna be like The Rock? No way, man. You're too small. I had them, man. If you keep listening to them, you start believing them. Patience is key, man. That's one thing I've learned. Even though like I was meant to get married last year, I'm pretty sure down the line I'll find someone better than that one. But and it's an interesting thing. I know even today there's some people who are married to someone just because of what people around them has told them. Oh, you should marry them to him. Rather than knowing like what your heart says. That's why you have them long lasting relationships like a Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, a Denzel Washington, and a Pauletta. You know what I mean? Because those two actually, regardless of, because the woman I was meant to marry was like, in my book, she was like a 10 out of 10 beauty. But other than the beauty, what did she ever bring to the table? Nothing. I was given 100% to that relationship, and she would just said, you know what, if I look like this, I can get any man to do what I want. Go do that. Because that man is a fool. He's gonna like, let's go rob a bank so I can just give money to sponsor you. I tried it. yeah, man, that's just my bit on depression, man. If you can, man, drop some comments in, in the comment section, like anyone who's dealt with just, it doesn't even have to be depression, just anyone who's dealt with like, challenges, and like what they have done to overcome it. You know what I mean? And like, tell me about like, people have told you, well, you can't do this, you can't do this, man. Like, you're a fool, you're crazy to do this, man. Let me know, man. Let me know. It's like, even I want to, like, what other people have gone through, just so I can be more prepared. Because, I keep saying when you're venturing into these kind of like unknown things, there's always going to be a struggle. When you've not done something for the first time, you are going to fail, man. It's straight. You have to fail to succeed. And sometimes I think last year it was a big eye opening thing because I failed so big. It was the biggest failure, it was the biggest L of the millennium, man. You know what I mean? So, but in that, it's made me so, how can I say, fearless. I remember Dave Chappelle talked about this on the Inside Actors Studio, like he felt so miserable of his wildest dreams. He was just like, I failed, nothing's wrong, my friends are watching. This isn't that bad, you know what I mean? It's like, you've already, it's like you've been beaten up by the bully in school. And this is someone thing that happened to me. You've been beaten up by the bully every day, trying to take your money. It happens all the time. Then you get to that point when you just say, no, you're not going to take my money. Even if he does still kick your ass. It's just that whole thing that you stood up to me. And that's what happened to me, You know what I mean? If anyone watches the video, the guys who did that, they know who they are. But trust me, like I said, Prince of Payback is coming, and you will know firsthand that Payback is rich. But for you, it's gonna be a yeah, man. So guys, stay tuned for my upcoming vid. We've actually got another. I'm actually doing not to go into too much. I'm doing a review for my next vid. Which was actually a request by one of my loyal, devoted RichManZ. So I'm gonna be putting that like very soon, and I'm actually gonna be doing like a discussion of like an update to the channel. Where I'm actually gonna go. Into the next millennium, next century, the next thing. No, but like in the next coming videos, I'm actually gonna go in towards direction, which I'm gonna explain in my next like review and that. So yeah, man. Thanks again, like for watching the vid, again, like, really, really, appreciative of getting to, like, 2,000 subscribers, I'm just really loving the people who are sticking with me. I'm really loving the positive reviews, people telling me, like, to do this and that. Yeah, I mean, I'm there, the time's gonna come when I'll be able to, like, answer all your questions and that, what I mean? It's been a long road, but I'm so glad just people are stuck with it, and I'm really enjoying the material and that, so really, really thank you for that. So yeah, man. Like I said, man, stay tuned for like the upcoming videos, and just remember when the planets align once more again, Richie Rich will be back yet again. Peace.